So welcome back to my chalet. This is Gamer Dom. Today I'm looking at the ISU-122S, which is the Russian Tier 7 tank destroyer. It was part of the Berlin pack that was offered by Wargaming earlier this year. In fact, in the EU you had to buy it separately. It didn't actually come with the Rudy and the Cromwell, but it was made available at roughly the same sort of time, and on some of the other servers it was part of that pack that you bought. And it's a really nice TD in my view. I've played now 116 games and I have a win rate of 53. I do a fair bit of damage in this thing, and it just sort of works for me. And I think I've talked about this in other videos. It's important when you choose a tank, when you use a tank and you buy one, particularly premium, you try and find something that matches your playing style. This one does for me. Let's have a quick look at it though. So it's only got 870 hit points, which is not a lot for a tier 7 TD. By comparison, the ISU-152 has over 1,000, so we lose out there. It has an engine power of 600 horsepower and a top speed of 43. And again, on the surface you compare that with the ISU-152, and it doesn't do so well because the ISU has 700 engine horsepower, same top speed though, so you'd imagine that this thing would be much quicker accelerating. However, the difference is in weight, so the 122S is considerably lighter than the ISU-152, and so what they make up for, or what they lose out in terms of engine power, is gained back through the engine weight and the tank weight generally. So that means this thing isn't really that sluggish. It's not the fastest, it's not going to win a race, but it can move around reasonably well for an assault gun, and that's what it is really, an assault gun. So armour wise, they have exactly the same armour profile. The 152 and the 122 are both 90 millimeters of armour frontally, and on the side and 60 at the rear. Now the problem again is that if you look at there's not an awful lot of angling going on here. There's a little bit at the front, but it's as near as flat as damn it. The lower plate is pretty flat. However, I do find that I do bounce shots in this thing, mainly because of the mantlet. This gun mantlet is very troll and very big, and what I find is between shots, if you can sort of waggle your turret a bit, or your chassis a bit, you haven't got a turret, but you can waggle your tank a little bit, from time to time you get bounces off your mantle. Now you don't want to count on that for sure, but it does happen from time to time, so that's good. The main good thing about this vehicle, in my view, is its gun. It has this 122mm. Pretty much every tank in the Russian line has a 122mm, so this is no different, and it's a good gun. It fires very rapidly, 8 rounds a second. 8 rounds a minute. 8 rounds a second would be a little bit OTT. Has a good penetration for a tier 7, 175. It's pretty good. Nothing wrong with that at all. 217 with its APCR rounds, and basically both of them do 390 damage, so that's great. So it's a really nice thing. Aim time is not great, but it's not horrible either. It's nowhere near as bad as the 152. Dispersion at 0.41 is good. So it basically, the bottom line with this gun is it's fast firing, has pretty good penetration and very good alpha, which gives it, I believe, one of the highest DPMs in the game. So at the end of the day, you're a TD. What is your job? It's to punch out shells as rapidly as you possibly can, and that's what this thing does. So that's all good. So the other bonus with this vehicle is the crew that you get with it, and I assume this is going to be the case with the one you buy at Advent, but it comes already with Brothers in Arms and with its first skill at 100%. So effectively you've got a double skilled crew already available on this vehicle, which is fantastic. And that makes a huge difference, because suddenly, you know, as I have here, I've got my Kanda has 6 cents, and 6 cents in a TD that's going to spend its time trying to avoid being seen is invaluable. So I haven't bothered to move this crew on yet. You know, again, one of the things that you obviously do with premium vehicles is you put other crew from other vehicles in the vehicle to train them up, because then they can do their ×2s in the premium and they can also do it in their original vehicle. I haven't bothered with that yet, mainly because I'm planning to move this into another vehicle later on. So at the moment they're sitting there, they're getting their skills, they're up to their 3rd skill, which is great. So they're a very effective crew, which makes life a lot easier on the battlefield. Other equipment I use, the rammer obviously, binos and netting. Camo netting, I'm not sure how, you know, it's supposed to give extra advantage to when you're stationary for spotting, and my theory is that this is a TD, this is supposed to hide, this is supposed to, you know, it's got quite a low profile, so with a net and you're in some cover, you know, you should be able to hide quite well. And the binos bring the viewing range up to a reasonable level. With this crew, and yeah, you know, commander's now got situational awareness well advanced. You know, my view range is up to 450, which for a Russian tank of any description is pretty good. Base rate is 350, which isn't bad either. So you know, put binos on, you start to become viable as a standalone viewing to spot for your own targets. So that's the ISU-122S. Really nice little tank. So let's go and have a look and see what we can do on the battlefield with it. So here we are, fiery salient, a tier 7 game, which is nice. I mean, remember, this is a tier 7 tank, doesn't get preferential, so you can see up to tier 9, which is not great, to be honest, because unlike the ISU-152, this gun can have a challenge going up against tier 9s. 7s and 8s, okay. Lower, of course, it'll punch through very easily, but 170 odd penetration is not going to do the business, really. So let's see, what should we do? We've got a couple of good scouts, well, one good scout. Let's see what he's going to do. I'm going to head out to this flank here and hope that they do some spotting. Try not to. Oh, thank you, Mr. Snake Panther. So you see 31, what's that, 31 miles an hour, kilometers an hour, it's not bad. Looks like the ELC is going out ahead, which is great. Do some spotting for us all. Get into cover, ready for anything that gets uncovered. So looks, I don't think I'll be able to hit him. That was a bit hopeful. I've got no chance of hitting that T21 up there. So, ooh, there's one customer. Can we hit him? No, it's moving too fast. He knows he's been spotted, which is a shame. Let's push forward a bit further. Ooh. Aim circle, bit slow, but look at that. That's what you call a headshot. Kaboom! Blimey, that AV got obliterated. So what have we got? We know there's a 34-100 over there. Tank I really like. I'm working my way through the check line at the moment, and I can't wait to get back to that because I played it on the test server and really liked it. Gun on it, 100mm gun, is very pokey. So we're not seeing anything at the moment, so let's push on a bit further. We're 3-0 up. We probably, looks to me like that T-34 is thinking about a bit of a poke, but he's pulled back again. So we'll move forward. Oh, he is thinking about a poke. I should have stayed there. Darnations. Tarnations! What's up, the SU? Okay. So they've got a 152 hidden back somewhere. I'm going to hit him. Leather. What did that shot do? Wafted it. Aim time, reload time, pretty good. There you go, another shot, another killing. If you allow it to aim, it can do some damage, this gun. First shot I fired didn't really, it just went into the dirt, and you know, that's just one of the vagaries of the game, unfortunately. Missed him. Well, there's a 43 up there. I've got a shot on him, unfortunately. Oh, there's loads of targets now. 152 is the priority. Missed him. Darn. See if we can get up and cause mayhem to this guy. Got it right through the turret. But I did get spotted. So I'm pulling back. Miraculously didn't take any shots there, which probably means that 43 is pulled back. It probably means, well, the 43 hasn't pulled back. He's going to be dead in a minute, that's for sure. Can't see him for RSU. Missed him. Okay, right, so this flank looks pretty secure at the moment. We know there's an 85 down at the back. We know the ISU-122 is in the middle. So we know that there's nothing left apart from this fella. And that's it, game over. A bit too easy. The other enemy team folded far too easily. But you can see, reasonable speed, reasonable gun handling, didn't need to fire any premiums, it's only a third class, middle of the pack in terms of result. But look, the shells are pretty reasonable. Only cost us 9,000, we fired 9 shots, so 1,000 a shot, there you go. Only hit 3 times, 3 penetrated. 30,000 credits though, so that's nice. 800 experience times 2, and the premium bonus gave us 160. So we made 176 experience, which is very nice. So, there you go. Not the best game I've ever played it in the world, but let's see if we can get another one, see if we can do better. So, Movanka. Another tier 7. The gods are favouring us for some reason. The gods of World of War. It's funny, I played a few games the last few days in this tank. Got nothing but tier 9s. Today, tier 7s, so go figure. I guess that's just the luck of the draw. So we are going to head to the left flank, I think. Try and use the gun depression, try and use a hold down position if we can. Try and use the view range and support anybody pushing down that side. It doesn't look too great though in terms of the split. So looks like we're going to be on hold, on defend. if anybody's paying attention. Not so far. Okay, it's not too bad. In the end, most of the heavies are going the other way. Mediums this way. What can you do? It's World of Tanks, what do you expect? No logic. Oh, blimey, they're pushing hard down this flank. Hello, Mr. Cromwell. How do you like that, Mr. Cromwell? Missed it. Darn. It's been spotted. Let's pull back. Because there's a lot of them down there. So there was the gun in action. One time it was beautiful, hit perfectly. Second time I didn't really let it aim properly, and as a result I didn't get the hit I should have got. Ooh, there's an OI. Can I get my gun down on it? Oh yes I can. Fully aimed, bang. No. Need to move it now. Let's see if I can track it. That's better. Been spotted. Oof. That was a big hit at the end. I did put some premium in there because I should look at this flank. Oof, I was actually aiming for the T-34. Where did that shot go? He's dead. It's a bit of luck I was aiming. Well, I think if I'd hit the T-34 I would have killed him too. So, you know, luck or otherwise, I was going for one and got the other. There's our friend in the OI. Probably regretting coming out in one of the biggest tanks in the game at the moment. Can't get an angle on him though, which is a real shame. Oh, someone just absolutely trashed that. Tracked him. Not really what I wanted to do. I've been spotted. I would have hit him there, I'm sure. Pull back. Oh, this is Skoda. Yeah, 400, that makes a nasty mess of those things. They're virtually soft vehicles, those Skodas. Quite like it, but it's a real so-and-so. Got him. KV needs to die next. Bounced, loading HE to try and finish him off because he's only on 40. There you go. HE off this 122mm shell will kill 40 hit points off even a heavily armoured thing like the OI. So there we go. Oh, let's see, can I get the IS? I can, and I will. No, I won't, I'll miss him. He looks like he's AFK. Oh no, he is moving. That was better, right into the side of the turret because he turned it. See if we can finish him before that. There you go, I just stole that kill. Which is fair enough, because I think I did a lot of work in that one. So, you can see, that gun is quite pokey. You know, tier 7, even tier 8 game, it's a really nice gun. Tier 9 games, it struggles. But then, you know, that's what happens. But then most TDs are very good in a high tier game because they have a very good gun. That's what TD is about. It's all gun and no trousers. So they tend to compensate for the lack of armour or what have you by having a good gun. This one doesn't do that. Oh, that Matilda. Is that what it was? A Matilda? Jeez. Poor bugger. I thought I was something bad. And then he gets an ammo rack with 15 hit points left at the end. Hey, what are you going to do? Sometimes RNG just has a laugh. So, what do we do? We did a first class with that. Fighter, I don't really, these other badges don't really care about. First class is nice, and a high caliber. We did 2,700 damage, 4 kills, finished top on XP, top on damage on both teams, which is nice. Fired a total of 16 shots, hit with 13 of them, which is a good rate. But you see, I had time to aim, and that's the key thing with this gun. Make sure you got the time to aim. Did 10 penetrating hits for the 2,000 damage. So what's that? 10. Even my maths can work that one out. 277 per hit, which is okay. Received 2 hits, but only one of which penetrated. That was one. I bounced the KB1, I believe, who must have been firing the 85mm gun. Angling from below, it accentuates the top plate on my vehicle, so even though it doesn't have much angling, firing from below, the KV probably bounced off my front. If he'd aimed for the lower plate, it probably would have gone straight through it, but he didn't, so sucks to be him. Yeah, so good credit generation. You see that? 73,000 credits. Now I fired a couple of rounds of APCR, which reduced my profit, but I still made 53,000 straight profit. Okay, I had no damage really to speak of, and you know, but even so, that's a good profit for a tier 7 TD. Do 3,000 experience, which is good. So I've got a bonus thing running on my Russian tanks, so it gives me ×2. From earlier this year I bought them, and I'd almost forgotten they run out at the end of the year, so I'm trying to use them up quickly. So there you go. So that is the ISU-122S. A good little vehicle, all told. It's a good tank, good mobility for a TD, good visibility for a TD, for a Russian TD at that. Gun is pretty good in its own tier. It will cause some mayhem. Tier 9s not so much, but you know, then you don't need to do as much damage to get the same amount of XP. So it is a premium, so you get the bonuses in terms of crew training and also in terms of extra credit and extra experience generation. So that's all good. So nice little vehicle. Hope you enjoyed that review. If you did, please do feel free to click like and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you again another time. This is Gamer Dom. Be careful out there.